All right, so this is an Empower Circle free resume workshop. Kicking it off, I am Coach Karie. I have been in the field of recruiting for over 12 years now. I've done a lot of work from the range of tech to non-tech. I started out as a consultant, as a project manager for Accenture, working for some of their top clients, such as AT&T, the Air Force, and some of their government clients, providing consulting services and also doing their resource management and their staffing. And from there, I got into agency recruiting to where I ended up becoming the market manager, helping build out offices and helping support some of our larger clients. And then I joined the workforce with Amazon as well as Meta. And then I recently boomeranged back to Amazon, where I am a global recruiting manager for our security and professional services side. And so outside of that, I'm also a certified career coach and DEI in the workplace certified as well. And so a lot of the content and the information that I constantly go through in my day to day and in my career, and even what I do with coaching, is all full circle. I always encourage anyone, and even as I'm going to encourage all of you today, as well as Sabrina, whatever you do with everything, with every certification and everything that I achieved, I made sure it made sense for my brand and what I was trying to do. And so this workshop and what we're doing today and putting on seminars and helping job seekers and helping leaders scale their teams and networking, things like that are the things that I actually enjoy doing. It doesn't feel like work for me. So that's a little bit about who I am. And Sabrina, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming out this morning. I am Sabrina Alvin. I've got over 20 plus years in recruiting and staffing. I owned a staffing and firm and then pivoted into working for big tech. But my background is in manufacturing, engineering, technology, healthcare. So I've been coaching candidates and working with people around careers for a very long time. My primary area right now, I pivoted back to, like Karie, pivoted back to Amazon, and I'm working as a principal sourcing lead, working in the AMSAC or Amazon security space. So anything dealing with security from Prime Video devices and things of that nature. But my passion is giving back and coaching around careers and giving those tips and tricks that you may not know or that you don't know around what works in the career space. And because I've worked with a lot of different companies and a lot of different industries, there are certain nuances that are needed to be successful in that job search. And what I hear a lot is, I'm very qualified for the role. I tick off all the boxes, but why am I not getting callbacks, or why am I not getting those interviews? Why am I not getting chosen? And so my goal and what I've been doing throughout my career is giving you those nuggets or those tips and tricks, and then practicing those mock interviews with and having those conversations and getting your confidence. A lot of it sometimes is confidence and who shows up and how you show up for the interviewing process, right? And if we can get past that and we can get you where you're feeling good about your skills and you can really talk about your skills and you're confident there, then that's half the battle. I am very holistic as far as how I like to coach, and I coach from a place of where you are today, not where I think you should be. So we talk about what your goals are and what your aspirations are. So I'm really happy that the seminar is full today, and so we have a lot to offer, and so we're going to get started.
All right. So let me pull back up the presentation. So in this workshop today, the main things that we're going to cover are how to go over your resume, the layout of the resume, how to make it effective, how to really put your brand into it. And by the end of the workshop, we want to make sure that everyone can walk away here if you at least with the general understanding of how to position yourself. And we're also going to get a little bit into some job searches with your resume. So hopefully you also know how to get started on that piece. But we'll do as much as possible to where we give you the most of your time on today.
Mhm.
You'll learn again the basics of resume writing, resume formatting and layout, tailoring your resume to the job, creating a strong opening, and we'll also go through some demos. We will have some time for questions at the end, depending on how long it takes for us to get through everything. But again, like our ultimate goal whenever we do this is for it to be impactful, because in order for us to be fulfilled, we need to make sure that all of you feel like you've left fulfilled. So Sabrina, if you want to go ahead and get started with the basics of resume writing.
Yeah, so the basics of resume writing is really to summarize your skill and your experiences in your education, right? The resume is the introduction to who you are for a recruiter or for a hiring manager. So it's really important that you showcase what your qualifications are and you have demonstrated and shown what your skills are as it relates to the role. A lot of times what people do is they make their resumes too general, they're vague, they're ambiguous. We can't really understand what do you do, or they just dump, if they look at it as a repository to dump all of your skills in and they're not focused on a particular job. And so the basics of what we're going to teach you today is just how to focus and be intentional with your resume and what makes sense, and not to be afraid of applicant tracking systems and what the applicant tracking systems actually pull and what they're looking for. And then make sure that the length of your resume is in line with the experience and the skill sets that you have. Oh, Karie, we can't hear you.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to reiterate another piece that you'll see on the slide. It talks about, the applicant tracking systems. There are a lot of myths that go around like, oh, you have to put these words in multiple times, repetitive, or else you're not going to get pushed through. What really happens is like your resume is not going to get pushed through. Every resume gets pushed through, right? But what really happens is if I'm a recruiter and I have 100 resumes, and Sabrina, I'll let you walk through what you'll do as a recruiter. If I had 100 resumes for one job, and for the most part, I'm not just working on one job at a time, I'm working on at least 10 jobs at a time minimum. And I'm going to want to go through and sort through those 100 resumes with some keywords of what I'm looking for the job I'm searching for, so I can save some time. So I'm going to type in those keywords of the job, so then it might shorten my list or either order my list in priority of the keywords that I'm looking for that are most important. So it's not like the applicant tracking system that it'll spit you out. That's not what it'll do. It's just that having those keywords will help for us to identify if you're the right person. But at the same token, we just don't want to see the keywords. We want to see the follow through behind it, right? If we're asking for a project manager, we don't just want you to put project manager all throughout your resume and agile and scrum. Like, what did you do? How did you manage projects? Did you save someone money? How many people did you have to manage? Were they direct or indirect? Who did you have to interact with? How many teams and orgs? How often did you hold your meetings? What were those meetings about? And why did you even have to have, like, going into things that are impactful about why it makes you a project manager as it relates to that role, not just putting keywords all throughout it. And then the other piece is, how long should a resume be? My resume is only 2 pages long, and I have 15 years of experience. I feel like you can put your resume within 2 pages if you have 15. Now, depending on your field, like if you're in legal or just in those fields where you want to list all your certifications or you have to, and that's something important, 3 pages max. But then if you're a new grad or entry level, you can get everything within 1 page. And so you want to make sure you're only fitting in your resume what makes sense. After you write it, Sabrina loves Grammarly, right? Everyone should be running their resume at least through Grammarly or some kind of resume read. The other piece, I made a post about this the other day on my Instagram where I said, if you have any information on your resume that you wanted to double check, such as your summary or a specific bullet point, run it through ChatGPT or some of these AR chatbots and say, hey, help me recreate this sentence about myself and make it more impactful. And it'll help you recreate it. And even if you didn't already include that information, it'll show you areas of where, okay, this is where you can include certain information to make this more impactful. That's what it's about when you're writing it. It's not about list all your job responsibilities. I don't care about your job responsibilities as much as I care about what did you do in that job to make impact.
And I want to add something to Karie, and thanks for expounding on that. Because one of the questions that I see or I get a lot is, how do I put in the keywords, or how do I label them, or how do I know how to address my skill sets? One of the things you should look at is the job description and really understanding and breaking down that job description, right? If you look at the job description and you look at the basic qualifications of the role, and I usually tell candidates to go to the bottom of the page first, because usually we get trapped by looking at the job description and we're like, oh, I can do that job. But if you don't have the basic qualifications for the role, then you can't perform the role at the level that we're looking for you to, right? And so really understanding and highlighting what those job description, what the requirements for the role entail, and then making sure that those skill sets, if you have them, are on your resume somewhere. And that's how you really determine, or you look at what the skill sets or what the role's looking for, and you are able to put in those keywords.
So I went ahead and skipped 2 slides ahead because that was actually on one of our next slides, tailoring your resume to that specific job. So again, exactly what she said, you want to do all those things, use those keywords, making sure, tell people you want to make sure you can answer that job description with your resume. Can you be a solution to that job description? If your resume can't be the answer, then you need to tailor it some more. You want to be able to also speak to that job's narrative. And we'll go deeper into that when we do some demos to show you some examples of where you can look inside the job description to understand how to get the narrative of that company, what that culture could be like, and speaking to that. It's like a conversation with anyone. When we're in a room one-on-one with an opposite gender, we speak differently as opposed to when we're in a room with our same gender, right? So you adjust your tone depending on your audience. So that job description has an audience, and it's that hiring manager or whoever wrote that job description for that need behind it. So you have to speak to it in its language and what it understands, and being able to say, hey, I'm what you're looking for. You know that responsibility? Check this out. I did it right here, right? You want to be able to fill in that gap. Anything else you want to add on that, Sabrina?
No, that's definitely perfect. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the other slide, just going back to the format of your resume. There's different types of resumes you can use. You have like a chronological resume and different functional resumes. The best resume, well, I wouldn't say the best. One of the most preferred is the semi-functional. And so the order of the semi-functional resume, that's where you start with your title. And so when I say title, I mean your name, and your location. You do not have to put your address. Please do not put your address. City and state is fine. And you want to put your LinkedIn. If you say I don't have a LinkedIn, you need to get a LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, that could be a problem. You probably find a job, but there's better jobs. I read some stats in last year where it says the average person who has a LinkedIn account makes at least 75K a year. If you're on this call and you don't make at least 75K a year, the first thing you need to do is hop on LinkedIn and see what you can do differently. There's a lot of things. And again, we can go through LinkedIn and do a quick demo of that. But you want to have that. And then at the top, just a quick title, right? Again, you're speaking to that job. People ask, well, do I change my resume for each job? You don't have to recreate your whole resume for each job. At first, you want to start with the meat of, this is who I am. This is how I want to sell myself for this role I'm trying to get into. But at the end of the day, you also still want to speak to whatever job you're targeting. So if they're calling the title of their job one thing and someone else is going to call it another, well, whatever you call it, guess what? That's going to be the title of mine. You're looking for a senior project manager for supply chain specific. I've done supply chain in that. That's going to be my title. Don't put it if you haven't done it, but if you know you've done those things and it's called out repetitiously in that job you're applying for, you can put that as your title and then have your summary statement speaking to all those things that are in the responsibilities of that job, highlighting it, being concise, showing your years of experience, really showing that impact in at least 4 to 5 sentences. Then you can put your key skills right underneath that. I like to call it my core competencies. So that's where I highlight pieces that maybe I couldn't fit it into a sentence without speaking too elaborate, but if I just throw it in there, someone will know what I'm talking about. So for instance, I manage very high performing teams at scale. So I put that as a key skill because I've done that multiple times. Or I am very skilled when it comes to DEI in the workplace, and I have my cert in that as well as Sabrina. So I'm going to put that as a key skill. I also, not just like how I'm doing today with my business, but also with the corporate jobs that I work, I do a lot of presentations and learnings and L&D, which is learning and development. So I'm going to put that as a key skill, right? That's what you want to highlight. And then the next, you want to highlight your specific achievements and contributions. So this is that list that you go into of your high achievements. Maybe over in the end of year of 2022, you saved the company $1.1 million, which is 25% of the company's revenue. Or maybe you helped with retention and was able to achieve a project, whatever a huge accomplishment or achievement is that you really want to highlight, you can just put it real quick in a bullet. If you don't have that, that's fine. But anybody that has 10 plus years of experience, I strongly encourage you to have a highlight of specific achievements, especially if you plan on having a 2-page resume. That way you can make sure they see everything you've done without having to get all the way to the second page. The next piece, again, your experience, you want to list all of that out and make sure every sentence is impactful. Start that first word with a verb. Don't start with I developed. Don't start it with I went in. Just start it with developed high performing such and such and such. Executed this, that, and another. Delivered this. Drove this, right? You want to start with the impact where it's like boom, 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 boom. This is who I am. And by the way, I know that's what you're looking for because again, my resume is going to speak to the narrative of this job. And then the rest, you add your education, any technical skills, any certifications, anything that you want to add. I'll pause. Sabrina, anything you want to add right there?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to achievements too. So, what I see too sometimes when you're in a career for a while, you're automatic. I can use myself for an example. I'm doing my job every day, and I don't even recognize the achievements I perform because it's part of what I do, is who I am. One of the ways that you can sort of identify your achievements, if you're struggling with what did I do that was so significant that will stand out and be important to another organization, is look at your previous performance reviews. Look at your previous any reviews that you've had. Talk to some of your peers. If you started a program or organization in your company that was not there before, say DEI or say some ERG that's there, that's an achievement, right? It shows your leadership skills. It shows you have backbone. It shows that you are not afraid to take risk and things of that nature. So go back and look at previous reviews where your skills, your achievements were highlighted. Because one of the things I see too is like, oh, I'm just doing my job, right? But there are a lot of things within your role that stand out that you don't realize that stand out because they're just a part of who you are, and that's what you'll do to go that extra mile. And then when you're creating your resume, Karie is completely right. Please don't put your address. One of the best ways for us to contact you is by phone, right? And so I can't tell you the number of people I've tried to call and their voicemail is not set up, and I can't leave a message, right? Don't make a recruiter or a hiring manager work that hard, because that means I've got to turn around and keep calling you. And then sometimes, depending on the speed and the velocity of the role that I'm in and the level of recs or the amount of recs I have, I may forget to circle back, right? And so you missed an opportunity. So please set up a voicemail, especially if you're looking for a position, and please make sure that it's not full so I can leave a message. And then make sure you have your email address there too. Email is the second way that we contact, but keep in mind too, a lot of companies are going to AI, and then they're sending text messages to contact you and things of that nature. So if your phone number is not correct, your phone number is not there, or you don't have a voicemail, then oftentimes even the computer generated tools can't contact you. So if you don't have your voicemail set up, and I stress that all the time, please do that, especially if you're in the job search, and keep that mailbox empty. So that's what I have to add.
No, I completely agree. Especially that step of voicemail. That is such a simple one. That's too true because a lot of people screen their calls, and then if we don't double back and we on to the next, you're gonna miss out.
Mhm.
All right. So the next piece, creating a strong opening. So going back again to making sure you can grab the reader's attention. Someone dropped it in the chat earlier. They said knowing your audience, right? So when you're writing your resume, don't think about what you want to hear about yourself. Think about what the hiring manager or recruiter wants to hear from that company. So if you're in the healthcare industry and you're applying for a company in the healthcare industry, and or no, you're in the healthcare industry and in your way far background, you have some tech experience and you're trying to get into a tech company, but all you're selling is just your healthcare and you're not pulling into your tech, you're giving yourself a disservice because I'm looking for a health tech person. Or if someone is in education trying to get into tech and you're not pulling anything that you've done into tech into that quick summary at the top to show I can see you as ed tech, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Whatever it is you're looking for and that person is looking for, that company is looking for, you want to make sure you're incorporating that into your opening, saying, this is why you will want to speak with me. This is why I will be a good fit for that job. I've done this, this, and this according to what you are looking for in a person. Be clear, be concise, and again, communicate your value proposition. That's what I just said. That's how you sell yourself. Value proposition is, how can I be of value to you? Why do you need me? I can be a problem solver. I cannot reiterate that enough. You can think that you're as good as you want to be because you're a data analyst and you see a job that says data analyst and you think I'm a fit. I've been doing this. You may think that, but I see hundreds and thousands of data analysts. So how are you going to stay set apart? And I know many of you, if you're looking for jobs right now, within less than a few hours, there's hundreds of applicants. So how are you going to set yourself apart in your resume if someone decides to go through all those applicants? And even with that, there's strategies that hopefully we'll have some time to go through in some live demos today to show you how to work around some of those applicants and making sure that you're able to grab that hiring manager's or recruiter's attention before they get flooded. Anything you want to add in that space, Serena?
No, that's just perfect. And you were really spot on when you said clear and concise and not wordy. Just really clear and concise. It's like a 30-second or 15-second elevator speech. Who am I? What do I have to offer? What are you going to do to grab my attention to make me want to read further about who you are?
All right. So if you want to go ahead and go over the resume formatting layout.
Yeah. So the resume format is it really, you want to look at the resume format and really identify what you're looking for. It has to be very appealing. It has to be clear and concise, a good white space, not crammed up or really small font. You want to make sure that you are, as we said earlier with the attention grabber, we want to make sure that you're making a really good, strong impression and that I get to see who you are. When I'm looking at a resume, I'm looking at your action words, what you've done in the past, what have you managed, what have you developed, what have you created, what have you led. Those are things that are impressive to leaders and what we're looking for. So it's really important that you look at the roles that you're interested in, and then you look at your skill sets and you try to mirror those as close as possible. And you're looking at the skill sets and how they relate to the role that you're looking at. Formatting is important. So there are different templates for a different type of role. There's a different template for someone that's looking for program manager versus someone that's looking at engineering versus someone that's looking at business development. So make sure that when you are creating your resume that you understand the formatting of the role that you're looking for, because the recruiter or the hiring manager typically will have an eye for that type of formatting, and we know exactly where to go to find the skill sets that we're looking for. Font is really important, making sure that it's a clear font. My preference, and everyone's preference is different. I love Time Roman, but that's just who I am. And making sure that the resume is clear and concise, and there's white space, so it's easy to read. It's been um, said that it takes a recruiter about three seconds to scan a resume. We're up, down, and we're up, middle, down, right? And we're looking for certain keywords, or we're looking for certain things. So it's really important that you make sure that your resume is clear and it's easy to read. They're bullet points, so that I know exactly where to go to look for the skill sets that I'm looking for, and that it's not going to take me reading. And we all know people, even looking at newspapers and things like that, it's hard to get people to read a lot. So it's a lot of skimming. So that's why bullet points are really important, so that I can go directly to those bullet points to pull out or extrapolate what I'm looking for. Make sure that your information is formatted in a way that is logical, that it makes sense, that it's easy to follow, that it flows well. All of that is important, and that I can look at your timeline or your progression of your career and really understand how you progressed in your career, right? Even if you pivoted and changed roles, I can look at your resume and say, oh, they were doing XYZ, and it's a natural progression that we've gone to another role, right? And I can look at that. So make sure that the progression is there. Um, you know, I see, making sure that as Karie mentioned earlier, that your certifications are clear and concise, that your education is there is important to me. And then any type of other skills that you may have that will be relevant to the role is also important to have on there. And then I'm going to pause and see if you want to add anything, Karie.
The one thing I want y'all to pay attention is everything that Coach Sabrina just said. She is a recruiter, right? And we keep on saying, know your audience. Mm-hmm. Know who you're telling the story to. She just told you the audience of a recruiter just now. Like this, though she's helping you all and speaking to all of you today, as she was speaking, I heard the recruiter in her like, man, this is what I do every day. So I want you to pay attention to her methods when she said, write the format in a way that they're used to seeing it. Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of recruiters. We go through minimum 500 resumes a week. That's a lot of scanning and understanding people's stories. It's a lot to digest. So it's like getting chicken scratch or handwriting from someone you can't understand, like you try it, then it's just like, man, I don't have time for this. Next one. As opposed to when you go through too, you might be the recruiter with enough patience, like, I'm gonna get through because it might be some gold in here. Mm-hmm. But as you're going through and you're tired and you get that one that wakes you up, it's that different sense of motivation, like, ooh, they get it. I like this. I can see them fitting in here. Like your whole passion. Now I'm sold on it. I'm bought in and I'm seeing the value proposition of that person. And it's like, to the point that I'm so excited on you, I forgot all about the other 75. Now I'm about to focus my attention on making sure I clean this up, get my email right for the manager, let them know what I found. I'm feeling good because now I don't have to go through the other 75. I can pause and go to the next track and maybe go back to that later. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, not just you're a job seeker and oh my God, recruiters, you should be seeing us. Well, you see the job boards and you also see we getting laid off too around these pieces. So like at the same token, make it easy. Help us help you. Because a lot of us, we love what we do. We love helping people. But when it can get complicated, it's hard to help you, right? And we just have to go to the next because we have to be willing to help those who've done the work and really position themselves in showing that, okay, if they can do this much with their resume to get in the door, imagine what they're going to do when they get here, right? Your resume is that first piece of your brand. It's not just a sheet of paper outlining, here goes all the jobs I've done. It's outlining, this is who you are. This is what I bring to the table. This is my value add. This is why I'm better than the next.
And I'm gonna add to Karie, that's great, because and the key part of that is understanding who you are. If you don't know who you are, you can't write your resume. If you don't know who you are, you can't tell me who you are on paper. I'm really big on knowing who you are, then you can explain to me who you are. And so it's really important that you understand that I can't tell you the number of people or number of resumes I've seen, And I'm like, okay. And I'm one of those recruiters. Well, if I have time, I will stop. And it's rare, especially if it's a person that looks like me. I'll say, okay, this, can I coach you real quick? This is not
Mm-hmm.
working. This is not working. And I'll walk them through the process. But I'm telling you, that's only a minute percentage of recruiters. First of all, we don't have the capacity and time to do it. And secondly, they're like, okay, if you don't care, then why should I care?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So take your time and really understand who you are. And then you put that and you create your resume based on that.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and get into the ATS?
Yeah. So so this is a big one, right? People are always, there's some nervousness, there's some anxiety around ATS. So ATS is applicant tracking system, and it's an automated way for a recruiter to help us to save time and going through each resume to go in and put in keywords around the roles or the positions that we're looking for to extrapolate or pull resumes, right? Or even on LinkedIn to find candidates, right? So ATS, applicant tracking system, is that way. So it's really important that you understand what it is and why it is, because and the importance of making sure your resume is formatted and it says it has the skill sets that we're looking for. Because I hear a lot, and I know Karie hear a lot too. I was perfect for that job and no one called me, and I hate that company. And then you make the company wrong for not reaching out to you. But really, what can you own or what can you be responsible for? So I'm always that person where what can you be responsible for that you didn't get a call, right? And so looking at that is really important. So the applicant tracking system is a way for us as recruiters to go in and find candidates in a more expedient way than going, resume by resume. As Karie said, we can go through 500 or more resumes per day. So what one of the things that we looked at is headings. Headings on a resume tend to kind of confuse an applicant tracking system. Those headings, like your name at the bottom with your number, page number, and things like that, we don't recognize headings, or the applicant tracking system does not recognize those headings. And sometimes it kind of truncates everything. It makes it smaller, and it will miss things. We just say, don't use headers on the first page, don't use headers on the second page, because it really confuses and messes up the software. When you're someone that has been in, for instance, sales or business development, where you've done a lot of, you had to put tables together, or you've done boxes and you want to be real creative on your resume form, stay away from that, because that also is unreadable to the system. I've seen resumes that, especially engineers, sometimes when they want to put or show their work on their resume. So stay away, make your resume really simple, really plain, and save a lot of that for the interviewing process. Or when a recruiter call you, you may want to say, I have additional information I want to add that may, help my case when you're having a conversation with the hiring manager. You want to make sure that your headings are very standard headings. As Karie mentioned earlier in this conversation, sometimes the same role can have different titles or different headings, right? So understand what headings that you're putting in your role. Sometimes your heading that you had at one company may not translate to another company. So that's important that you understand what the job is and what the role is and what the job description is asking for, because you may need to tweak your heading so that the applicant tracking system can recognize what that heading is and pull your resume forward for the recruiter to review.
I just want to add to that. So a couple of questions in the chat. Someone asked, what is your header? So just for clarification, we're talking about when you go in the Word document and you can insert a header and a footer. Mm-hmm. So on the first page, if you put your first name, last name, address, all your contact information in the official header that you can insert in the Word document, the applicant tracking system, if it's one of those systems, especially if it's a smaller company, the bigger companies, they usually got some money, their systems are good. But some like newer systems or whatever, if they're using in-house, it'll wipe that part and will only pull the meat of the resume. So be careful with that. If you want to use headers on other pages, fine, because you're okay if it gets eliminated, you only have your experience. But be careful putting your contact information in there. The other piece of that is someone asks, what is a header? Again, I want to be clear. We're talking about the headers that go in the top and the bottom of the page that you insert in the doc. But if you're also asking like what to put at the top of the resume in like the heading, that's your contact information. That's where you put that. If you put anything in your header, that's where you put your contact information. Nothing else. I wouldn't try to put a whole bunch of stuff in there. Oh, the other piece, the templates. I put this on my Instagram yesterday. You know how you see those resumes where they have the skills portion and it's like 5 stars. I have this soft skill, 3 stars, and it has little bubbles and leave that in 2022. It should have been left in 2019, but leave that behind because that tells us nothing. You want to give us impactful statements of what you've actually done. Like, don't tell me I'm a 5-star project manager. How? Show me. I got 5 stars in HTML. How? Show me. Like, don't just tell me that. Now you just wasted space on your resume. And honestly, I'm like, you got so much time to make yourself pretty, making me feel like you don't have the substance that needs to be provided. So let me distract me from being pretty. Especially if you have something on your resume. If you have more than 5 to 7 years of experience and you're still making it all colorful and pretty, it's making me wonder how much substance can you really add, right? I can see a new grad, they have that creativity, or if you're going for Google and they like that creativity side, or if you're a designer and all that but if you're not none of that, don't yeah. Yeah, Janae, you can make yourself pretty. That's good. Make yourself pretty, my bad. But don't be so focused on trying to make your resume and all those templates with the boxes. You're just wasting space. And we want to hear your impact.
Yeah, we're looking for clear and concise information. And keep in mind, sometimes, if we're using applicant tracking system and you put so much on there that the applicant tracking system can't read it, then we're missing you anyway. We open your resume sometimes based on what we pulled or what keywords are. So if you've got all that pretty stuff, because it's clear and concise. White page is clear and concise. I don't need to, like Karie said, I don't need to see bubbles and pictures and colored paper and all that kind of stuff. What can you do? And can you do this role? And can I have a conversation with you and you can speak to your skill set and I can forward you to my hiring leader.
Yeah. Someone asks Word or PDF. PDFs are actually the better.
Yeah.
Right. Keep a Word version that you always change. PDF are usually better because they don't get distorted. What I also love about it too, a lot of times we expense our phones because recruiters are always on their phones. So if we get a resume on our phone that's in a Word doc, it can shift some things. I know at least on my phone it does it, depending on how they did their resume, especially if you put tables. That's why we're saying do not use those tables. Some people put their key skills or the technical skills and you put them in a box and you put it in the table. Don't put it in the table. Just make a list, highlight it, go to layout on the Word doc, create some columns, call it a day. Those tables can get wiped off and they'll look like a blank through an applicant tracking system, depending on what kind it is, or even if I'm looking at it through the phone. But anything PDF, a PDF is saying you getting this exactly how it is and exactly how I want you to see it, and nothing moves out of place. So it is best to have that. Plus, it'll allow you to know if the recruiter has to manipulate your resume. So I know sometimes if I have some folks and they're really good, but I'm like, man, if I just added this little piece on here, they'll look better. Let me send it to the manager. It's a good thing that we're doing that for you, but I like to know when someone makes changes. So that way, when I am in the interview, I want to know if you're willing to make that change. I need to make note of that as I'm interview prepping, because obviously that was important enough for you to put that on there. I want to know. I don't want to just send you a Word document where you can change it for me based on our conversation and you shoot it over. I appreciate the favor, but I want to give you this PDF to where in order for you to want to really change it, you got to contact me so I can send you the Word version and I know why. Make sense? Everybody give me a yes or something in the chat. Let me know y'all here if that makes sense. All right, good.
That is a watermark and attention grabber. You don't need a watermark. We don't see that. It doesn't show up in the system.
So for a designer, would it be okay, or would the ATS still miss the resume? For a designer, I suggest that you hyperlink. Again, just don't put any tables. Don't use the Word header. Use a PDF. and go get yourself a portfolio if you're a designer. There are numerous websites out there that you can get a free site to put your work.
Mhm.
And then as a designer, maybe you could just do that little circle at the top where it has like your initials, and then just make sure, your name stands out. And maybe at the top of each header, as you're writing out your experience, maybe you have a matching color. So it's like a brand. So if you have a certain brand about you, maybe your color is royal purple on everything. So your whole brand has a little, don't put all your words, but maybe this define, like giving a little bit of who you are. Because if the job description says we want a creative designer that's not afraid to think outside the box and that's colorful and excited, then match that narrative. Give it a little pop. Don't do too much. Again, focus on the experience. But this is only for like a designer, right? Same as a model. If I'm a model, they really don't want to see words. They want to see what I'm looking like. So I'm gonna need to put a headshot on my resume, right? Write your resume to who your audience is. If you're a project manager, I can care less about your book. I want to see what your work does, not what your face does, and not what your design skills do. We got people at the job that do that called designers. Does color do anything? Have you stand out a bit? I have color on my resume, but I have like a royal blue. I have blue because that's my color. Years ago, I learned that blue means honesty. And I'm a very, very honest and transparent person. So that's one of the colors that I stick by. You'll also see that I stick by the color purple because it means royalty. So even the reason why I put the Empower Circle, you'll see it's in different shades of purple, and it'll always be in these kind of shades because it's royal. We're a pack of royal folks who empower each other. But again, you'll also see I have even purple glasses, but I have blue glasses as well. That's like my corporate brand. That's my honest brand, right? So for me, because that's my brand and that's what people see at the top, my name is in my brand colors blue. And then I also have like my fine lines to separate my information and contact is blue. And I believe when I applied for Google, I changed like the experience header, summary header. I changed those in blue, but I left the regular letters black. For other jobs, I changed my font all black, but left the fine lines blue. If it was like more professional jobs, right? I just know my audience, right? It depends on your audience. Color can make you stand out. Depend. If I'm applying for a government job, I'm just giving regular black and white. Right? It's the difference.
Yep, and keep in mind too, every applicant tracking system doesn't pull your color. They just pull the information.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get too hung up on colors because when it's applicant tracking system, it doesn't typically pull colors. It just pulls information.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't realize we were going to go through this. It was going to take so long to go through this part, but we wanted to do some live demos. We have about 10 minutes. I don't want to take up everyone's morning, just the same. I don't want to take up all of mine because I do have some meetings. I know Sabrina does too. We will try our best to go through at least one person's resume on the call if we have time. So I'm saying this now. So if you're that person and you're willing to share, let me share the screen with your resume. Go ahead and delete your contact information off the top, like your phone number and anything you don't want people seeing. And then in a minute, we'll let you know if we have time for you to drop it, but I want you to get prepared if we have time. So we're going to go over some quick LinkedIn tips and tricks because we told you about your resume. That's our fine and dandy. But it may be some of you here be like, all right, Karie, this was cool. We appreciate you. Great refresher. I knew these things. Thanks for reconfirming. But now what did I do? We still wanted to make sure we show you how to now use that resume position and how to look for stuff and do live. So we're going to go through some of that. And then we're going to go through some job descriptions. Now, since our time is limited, which one would you all want to go through first? The LinkedIn tips and tricks on job searching, or do you want me to show you some Google search tips? What do you think would be most helpful? Drop it in the chat. We can start with that because I want to proud LinkedIn. Perfect. I will go to LinkedIn. Let me stop sharing this screen. I love LinkedIn for searching. Y'all about to have me talking about this the whole entire time now, but that's good because this is a good spot. All right. Go to the feed. If y'all want to ask some questions in the chat, Sabrina, can you monitor the chat and answer any questions in the chat so we can do some stuff simultaneously?
Yep, I will go through the chat, and I'm also going to put a link in here, you all, for key action words or verbs you can use on your resume. And so when you're starting, you can look at those words and see what makes sense.
All right. Did I share my screen yet? No, I didn't. Okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Everybody can see it?
Yes.
All right, cool. So when you go on LinkedIn, if you're searching for a job, there's a few things, right? First, I'm going to go with the basics. You go to the jobs right at the top. Again, if you don't have a LinkedIn, please go do that today. So then you want to search for jobs. So I'm going to go to Director of Talent Acquisition for me. If those are the jobs that I'm looking for, I'm going to look at Director of Talent Acquisition jobs. When you look on LinkedIn, you'll see company alumni, or you'll see 3 connections. If I was looking for jobs, I would want to target jobs that I know people are at first. Going back to what I said, certain roles, like for me, this is a more niche skill set that I got on the screen right now, so it's not as many applicants, but I know you all, if you're looking for jobs, you've seen hundreds of applicants. Like this one was posted one day ago and has 132 applicants, and this is a director. So it's 132 directors applying to this role in one day. But as I'm looking at this to help myself stand out because I want to compete with them and I want to be seen, I'm going to click to see that I'm connected to this one person. This person just so happens to be the TA of operations. TA stands for talent acquisition for Moderna. So she's the TA of this company. So then I'm going to just message her. And here, if y'all are a member of the Empower Circle, if you go inside the career development resources, you will see that LinkedIn optimization download. If we have time, I'll show you to you where you can find it. But download that. Inside of that, it has templates that you can use to message someone to refer you. But you'll literally say, I would say, hey, Sebastian, I saw this role. I will copy the link to the role. And I'll say, I know you're in my network, and most of the times, you know, you can get a referral bonus. I figured it can be a win for you and for me. Would you mind referring me to this role? I'm giving you the link. So I'm just copy this link. I'm gonna click these 3 bubbles. I'm gonna click just the share button, and then you just copy the link. You throw it in that chat as you're writing it to them, you're writing your message. You attach your resume. You say, let me know if you need anything else from me. I'll do the same thing. I'll go to the director of supplier. I know 12 connections. This time I know 12. Okay, I'm interested in that job. Now I'm going to go through and see which one of these people, since I know 12, I'm not going to message all 12. So I'm going to be like, okay, which one of these people are closest to recruiting first, or that I actually really know. Now I have like close to 13,000 followers on LinkedIn. So a lot of people just know me. I don't know them. So I want to go through to see like how many people just started following me that I really can't ask for a favor, or people that really know me, know my experience, that I know is like, okay, going to pull for me. This lady right here at the bottom, Jen Ignash, I know her really well. We actually worked together. We grew an office together years ago. She watches me. We follow each other on Facebook. She knows about my family. She knows my work ethic. I know her husband. We work together. I'm going to hit her up first. Matter of fact, I'm going to also go to her Facebook and be like, hey, I just hit you, right? I just found someone that can refer me now to a job that has, I didn't even check how many was on this one, but these hundreds of applicants, this was 2 weeks ago, only has 2, which I'm surprised. But I'm going to reach out to those people. Now, if I have 12, I'm going to send that same message to at least 3 to 5 people on that list, because not everybody's going to respond right away, because not everybody checks their LinkedIn every day. Whoever responds first, I'm like, that's my person. I like the way they roll. I want you to represent me. I know you on it. And anyone else who responds after that, be like, oh, thank you, appreciate you. I actually found another contact at work that's going to refer me, but I would definitely keep you in mind next time. I appreciate you being willing to. You don't want to burn that bridge, right? That's my first tip that I'll give you for LinkedIn. The next tip Once you go through this, let's say this is your first day going to LinkedIn. It's like, Karie, that's great. I'm going through the jobs. And you go through all them. There's 1,800 results. Let's say you spent the whole Saturday going through that. On Monday, you don't want to go through the same 1,800 list. So make sure you sort it, because for a lot of you, you're doing this daily. I would suggest that you create a schedule so you don't bring yourself out, because looking for a job is a full-time job, but sort it by the past 24 hours. So now your list is a little bit simpler. You're not duplicating efforts, and you get to see the jobs that have recently came out with less applicants. But then I'm going to do you one better. LinkedIn has a feature now. So after you sort it by 24, there's been hundreds of applicants on the job boards after just an hour. So I'm going to go here to this all filters, and I'm going to click on a button. There's a button in here that you can toggle on that says under 10 applicants. You're going to turn that on. And then you're going to show now out of the 148, it's going to drop it down to 123. So now, if I only have an hour and I said this is what I'm committed to, this is where I'm going to start, right here. Then I'm going to also look, okay, scroll real quick. I can see real quick. I'm connected to these. All right, I'm also going to start on those where I know people. And I'm going to bust out my templates, copy and paste, copy and paste. Here's another tip that I'm going to add while I'm on here is the Teal Chrome extension. So that was on the slide on the other screen. If you go to Google and you just type in Teal Chrome extension, there's some folks who track their job search through a spreadsheet. Amazing. I used to do the same thing too, because you want to keep track. Who did you apply to? What contacts did you make? Every time I apply to a job and a recruiter responds to me, I always put their information next to that job. So now in situations like this, I have 5 offers last year from big companies. So if I potentially face layoffs, I'm going to go right back to those recruiters whose information I have in my sheet. Well, Teal is this free Chrome extension to where now, if you add it to your computer, it will track your job search and your contacts. So it's a free job search tracker. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. Everyone, make sure you grab it out the chat. Once this room closes, you won't be able to grab this link. You'll just have to go to Google and search it. But you go straight to that. You add it. Plus, they have other little resources you can add. So now when I'm on LinkedIn, if I choose to apply to this job, my extension will pop up and I can add it to that tracker. And now I have that on there. So that's another tip I advise that you use. That extension works on other job boards too. So make sure you download that for your tracking. Next piece, if you know that you're looking for these different roles with titles and you just don't know where to start and you don't know what these titles would be, so you start generic, sort it by the experience level when you're done. If you know, man, I've been dabbling in design and graphics for over 10 years, but I don't know the title, so I'm gonna just put graphic design. Well, okay, since you did that, now just sort it by mid to senior level based on your experience. Though you don't know the title, doesn't mean you have to be entry. And then go through those 57 instead of 123 results. So you're not overwhelming yourself, again, adding to that burnout. Then go through that list, right? Get yourself acclimated to who you are. So while we're here, let's say I wanted this role responsible for AI strategy consultant as a senior manager. Now I'm going to understand this company's narrative. This part is what I was talking about. When we talk about your own summary on your resume, selling what your value proposition is, well, Accenture is selling you what their value proposition is in this first paragraph of the job description. So what I'm going to do, whatever energy Accenture is about to give me, I'm going to match it in my summary, because that's what I'm having my conversation with. So they said they're a global professional services company. Guess what? I'm a global recruiting manager underneath the professional services team. I really am. So I'm going to make sure I put that. Then they said we're leading capabilities in digital cloud and security. Hey, I work for Amazon Web Services, the leading cloud provider. I'm going to put that at the top. And ironically, I support the security team. I don't know, I might need to save this for later. Hold on, y'all. Anyways, it says combining unmatched experience and specialized skills across more than 40 industries. Well, look, I've recruited and I've worked in a bunch of different industries. So I'm gonna let you know I'm diverse too. You diverse, me too. What else you want to talk about? You want to go ahead and grab something from the bar? What else does it say? It says we offer strategy, consulting, interactive, technology, Me too. Did you know I started my career as a consultant? I really did. And I built out strategy, all powered by the world's largest network of advanced technology and intelligence operation systems. Our 624,000 people, boom, you're an extremely large organization. I work for one too. We have over a million, well over. I can do that. Then it talks about human ingenuity, serving clients. I love to serve. That's who I am. I serve in the ministry, even outside of work, right? I love to serve. I'm going to put that piece in more than 120 countries. I have international experience. I work with LATAM, APAC. I work with the mayor. I work all over. Matter of fact, I lived abroad. I might want to put something like that in my work that I've done abroad, international. Y'all follow me? And then the last piece that talks about the client, the shareholders, the partners. I'll talk about my executive presence. Boom, my summary matching that summary. Now, I'm gonna pause there. Sabrina, anything you want to add?
No, there is a question that says, so do you adjust your resume and cover letter every time you apply? And you should tweak or modify your resume based on the roles that you're looking for. So you look at and you read and you understand the role, because there may be skill sets that you've added that are not really relevant to this role, or there may be skill sets that you didn't add that are relevant to this role. So understanding the role, as Karie said, and understanding what they are looking for is going to be really key. The thing that people typically do is they'll get their resume done and they'll send the same resume for every role, and that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. And then the other piece I would tell y'all to do, right? We just dug through the job, how to look at it. The next thing, if you're looking for a job, well, no, let me go through this experience. Go through the job responsibilities. As I'm searching for jobs, though the title attracts you and you see the top, that's what you've done. Before you start digging into all of that, scroll to the bottom and look at the basic qualifications and make sure you meet those. I don't want you to spend too much time on trying to be selling yourself for a narrative of a company where you can't even meet the basic qualifications. On the flip side of that, right, if it's asking for something like, I think this is it. So this talks about the work. Here's what you need. So they call theirs, here's what you need. This is basically basic qualifications. If you meet all of this, great. Keep going, write it. If you don't, then you need to go ahead and move to the next job. But down here it says bonus points. So if I meet any of these bonus points, then I need to make sure that I'm putting that at the top too. Because guess what? Not only do I meet what you're looking for, I also know you really want this. But HR and OFCCP guidelines and everything else is making you have to put this in preferred because you don't want to cut off, the audience. So guess what? I have that. So just so you know, when these managers make jobs, there might be things that they want, but if those things will cut off the audience of who they attract, or it can create a biased nature and make it discriminatory, but not necessarily discriminatory, but make it feel not as inclusive, because there's certain words that can turn off certain genders. There's certain words that can turn off certain races and making them feel like, okay, maybe I can't do that job. Like a strong ability to be able to do this, that caters to the male dominance. And so with certain job descriptions, they might keep it very basic of what they ask for so it doesn't exclude people. But then they'll also add different preferred qualification, like just in case though, if you have these. Or it might not even be a situation where it has to do with your culture, where you came from. It could just be the industry, to where, those memes that go around where it's like, well, you want 10 people in one job. That is not possible. We cannot do that. Well, they might throw some of that in the preferred, like, hey, yeah, we can hire on someone else, but if this person has this would be great. It will prevent us from having to hire a whole nother body if you can come with the skill in the meantime, right? So you want to highlight if you can be that helpful skill. Does that make sense? I know that was a lot, and I don't want to confuse anyone. Just give me a quick yes. All right, good. I just need one yes.
Yeah, to recap what Karie said, the basic qualifications are the key components to determine if you can you can perform the role at the level that the company's looking for you to. And everything else, preferred or bonus, whatever they call it, is a bonus. It elevates you above someone else that may not have those skills.
Yeah. All right. Now, if you're searching on LinkedIn, another piece I tell people to do, depending on your skill, put hashtag hiring. Now we're going to skip the job board and we're going to look for who is just hiring, period. Who is actively posted on LinkedIn trying to help a job seeker like myself find a job. So you're going to type in hashtag hiring and then you're going to sort it and click post. So now we're going to sort this list by people who actually post these jobs. So this list, there's going to be a long list. If you're looking for, let's say, a job in engineering or a coordinator role or a data analyst, like I'm going to put data analyst, put that there, right? That will shorten your list so you can see who's actually hiring for this role. So this actually pulled up some trainings that will be good for you to still look at and see what kind of trainings are available if you're trying to get data analyst role. This person right here posted about a live data analyst project on LinkedIn. So I'll read through that like, okay, maybe that can help me. Let me see if anyone is hiring. This person open to work. This person is actually hiring. Here we go. So now I'm going to ping Jamin. So first I'm going to like his post. Second, I'm going to make sure I read it and follow the instructions of the post. Right? Don't just ping him and be like, how do I apply? Here's my resume, or DM him. He says, we are hiring. Do you know anyone who might be interested? Jamin, I'm interested. What do I need to do? We're hunting for US-based candidates. All right. If you're not US-based, stop here. No. Next. All right. I'm US-based. Career advancement. I match one of these roles. Kindly reach out to me with your updated resume. And he gives his email and his direct number. Oh, this is gold. I'm going to my spreadsheet now. And now I'm going to type in Jamin, his company at Ring Technologies. I'm going to put his email. I'm going to put his phone number. And then I'm going to add the hyperlink in another column of the post that he made so I can always refer to this, know where I got this from. Then I'm going to read on some more. I'm going to go to the openings that he has if I can find them. I'm going to backtrack to his company. So this is with Ring Technologies. So I'm going to go to Ring's job board and see if I can find one of these roles. And still, though I see him, I'm not going to skip everything we went over today. I'm going to go and match up my resume to one of those roles first because he said he needs my updated resume. No problem, Jamin. I'm going to make a solution to one of your jobs. You don't even, and that's the proactiveness in you, right? So then you're going to go update it. Then you're going to email it to him. Make sure your subject line says, applying for the data analyst role you posted on LinkedIn, or applying for the data analyst role for this, like reference it in the top. Hi, Jamin, I'm reaching out about this flyer. You can take a picture of the flyer. You can screenshot this. You can tag him a link to the post, give him reference of why you're reaching out. Again, Jamin might make these posts every day, every Friday. He needs a reference of what you're talking about. I went ahead and applied, Jamin, and I want to tell my applied. I'm like, let them know, here's my updated resume. Let me know if I need to apply and let me know what the next steps are to proceed, right? Leave it at that. I would also make note of all the people he tagged in this post. I will start clicking on their names to see if they're recruiters, maybe they're hiring managers. Maybe I might notice, let me click on one. They could be a clinical analyst. This one is a resource manager. So I'm going to make note, Kevin, your phone is not on mute. No. I'm going to make note that this person knows all these different people and they're connected to this organization. So I'm going to make sure that I'm surrounding myself. If I happen to get an interview, I'm going to read through all these different people's profiles so I can speak even more to the narrative of this company and of the type of people that work with this company. So going back to that job, after I'm done doing all of that, I'm also going to go back to his post because I have the direct link to it. I'm going to like his post and I'm going to type, thanks so much, Jamin, for sharing this opportunity. I went ahead and shot you an email. Looking forward to connecting. If I don't hear back from you and soon, I'll go ahead and give you a call. right? Just follow the instruction. You ain't got to say, I'll give you a call. Looking forward to hearing back from you soon. And you decide to give him a call if he doesn't answer in the next 24 hours, right? Do the same thing for someone else. Maybe they might not give you a phone number, but you follow this same process. So again, some interaction. Does that make sense to everyone?
And
All
it's
right.
being proactive and not passive about your career search. And that's key because a lot of people see, submit, and wait for something to happen. And that's not the best recipe to finding the roles that you want. You have to be an active participant in your career search. And then I'm going to add to it, like Karie said, when you put the job title or position that they're looking for, if there's a job ID number related to that role, add the job ID number too, because that'll be very helpful for them to help identify which roles you're referring to.
All right. So I know we went over time. We thought this was at least going to be an hour. Um, I'm trying to think what to do from this point. Um, we want to take questions, but I know our time is limited. So Sabrina, it's up to you. I know I can try to make myself available more to the community members in the Empower Circle. For those of you who still need help refining your resume, or if you need help with, your job search or interview preparation, or you just need a community of individuals, we do offer additional trainings. If you aren't a member of the Empower Circle, you still can sign up on the page. Let me pull up both me and Sabrina's pages so y'all can see what it looks like. Inside of there, you'll get access to this recording. You'll also will be able to, let me drop y'all the link. You'll get access to this recording. And Sabrina, if you also want to drop to your achievers, but you'll get access to this recording from today. You'll get access to the career workshops that we've done. We've done other Empower Circle series. So it isn't just about resume writing. The intention of even creating the Empower Circle was to build a community for job seekers and not only help each other as they're navigating, because usually there's someone else in this room, right? Because all y'all came here for a reason. All of you are searching. Someone's going to get a job before someone else. And once you do, you can be a referral for someone else. So now you're making money from someone else in this group. So I want y'all to pay attention who is in this room, who is interacting, who is engaging, connect with each other in LinkedIn. Like, go ahead and drop your LinkedIns in the chat and connect with each other. Grow your network. That way, if one of you likes a job on LinkedIn, and who knows if some of you have some of the same titles, the other one of you gets to see it. Maybe some of you barely has a network on LinkedIn. Well, there's at least 30 of us on this call. You just gained 30 connections, right? Go ahead and connect with each other. But then the Empower Circle is the community where you can really come together and share resources and information. Again, I'm going to make myself available for office hours during the weeks, to where if you want to come in and ask questions about your own particular network, your own particular resumes, we can go through that. I will help you revise them as you're going through your job search. If you want one-on-one attention and you don't want to be in group settings, Sabrina and I also offer programs as well as just one-on-one sessions. It is less expensive to join our 4-month program as opposed to just one-off session, because there's more strategy and a roadmap behind our programs that we offer. The intent is to take you from either your job search all the way to the job, or if you're a leader, I know I've been focusing a lot more on leaders lately. I help them grow high performing team, their organizations, the scale. So if you say, I don't need your one-on-one coaching right now, I can't afford all that, we are completely fine with that. But we are here once you do land your job to help you navigate and get through it and coach you through next step of promotion. But in the meantime, the Empower Circle and the Achievers, that's your group for folks trying to find jobs. Inside of there, you'll find interview prep guides, interview prep training, salary negotiation guides, and salary negotiation training. We have guest speakers that come in. We have workshops. We have Know Your Worth workshops, wealth building workshops. We'll drop jobs in there, grants, different opportunities within that group. The career strategy guide is in there. You'll also get the career planner. So everything on that list will be in there. Like I said, you'll get access to us. Whenever we go live, we send that circle, that Zoom link, and you can hop on just like this, except we're not going through like a learning workshop. If it's a workshop, it'll say workshop. But if it's office hours, it's literally us being available and you come with whatever questions you have. It can be interview prep, it can be salary negotiation, it could be resume. It's just in a bigger group setting, but it's only $33 a month as opposed to paying $250 an hour, which is our rate.